You can always tell when I've got the timing wrong when we're sat there and then we both go. What's happened there? It was off. It was not the usual noise.
I was looking on another tab, and then I was just like, "Oh shit! I bet we're on the 10 seconds. Just go still. Just go still." Like some kind of David Attenborough documentary. Like, they won't notice me.
Just play dead. Play dead. Bienvenidos a todos. Genial verte, everyone. Welcome back to another episode. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for stopping by. It's lovely to see you, Ish. Even though we can't see any of you at all during this particular episode.
I'm beginning to think it might just be me in the guest chat, just typing things under different names.
Yeah. It should be. It should. You should open up thousands of random YouTube accounts and get involved. That's commitment. Evening, gents, from Shadow and I, whom are currently on a walk. Good evening, Craig. Good evening to Shadow. Not that Shadow could communicate. I would love it if he could. I bet he'd have tons to say. But we will get into the discussion of dogs later on.
Without knowing that Shadow is his dog, it sounds quite like an ominous sort of thing. Evening, gents, from the shadows.
From Shadow and I.
From Shadow.
Like when I was with a cape. It just looks like we're failing at dabbing. All that kind of stuff. I feel a little bit icky having done that.
Dabbing villain. Colonel Dabber.
That's it. So I'm going to go and get my tattoo finished tomorrow. I'm going back up to Nathan's. Hopefully finished. I mean, I don't know how long he's got. It's great in terms of the breakdown. He was like, "What do you want?" "I want this." "Cool." Turn up at say, I don't know, 11ish. All right. "How long are we going for?" "I don't know." Great. Great.
It just ends when he's got the needle right up to your eyeball, and there's just
that's it. Tell me a pin number. That's not how it's done. That's not how it's done. Yes, I'm having some of these parts filled in tomorrow. Yeah, I'm quite concerned about this bit. He is. He is a real talent. Real talent.
First hand.
Well, yeah, you have with.
I've seen the art in action.
With this as well. And my Deadpool was done by him too. And my hands. My hands.
Your hands.
My hand. This is one. This hand is your hand. This hand is my hand. Thank you, Joey. So, a few episodes ago, as well, this was on one of the ones where you were on holiday, I think. That's needless context. Either way, you weren't here. you were somewhere else. Needless context.
Ladies and gentlemen,
nobody cares. I mean, suffice it to say, he wasn't here, right? So I told everyone about a course that I was putting together that everyone could get involved in, I'm very aware now that Phoebe and Maddie last time were taking the mick out of me because I keep saying "and the like." And the like, and the like. So when I feel the words bubbling at the front, I'm like, don't say it. But yeah, so the long and short of it was, right, the company that I work for as director of behavioural insights is ProCipher, and me and the guys from there, it's some of the people that we get to train, like it's insane. Some of the meetings I'm sitting in on, it's just let's just say that. And so me and one of the other guys who's ex-CIA, we are in charge of developing course material. and the like, that we can, that I did it there, that we can start delivering. One slipped
Don't
out.
make me notice it now. Do not make me notice it.
That's the new podcast game. Count how many times I say "and the like," starting from now.
Yeah, in the comments when it's said.
That's it. Yeah. So, me and this guy, we are in charge of course material and like and putting it together and all this and all this, that, and the other, and so his first one's gone up, and my one that I've been working on for some time is fixated around my speciality. You know, when it comes to reading people and the like. I'm trying to put them in now. I'm trying to put them in.
How many can we get in there?
How many can we cram in, and where it sounds normal and the like? Oh my God, he's done it again. So my course is focusing on my skill, which revolves around the reading of people, objects in their locations, the actions they make, and the reasoning that's needed to bring all of the material out. And so I asked my boss if we could roll this out to potentially anyone and everyone that wants to try it before it goes live to these guys. So everyone can have the opportunity to get involved if they want to. So everybody can have a slice of the security elite pie if they want to. Because the main thing that I said in that episode previously is to lay it all out on the line. I will, for anyone that's done a course with me or any kind of a session, I will work you, and I will work you hard. That's simple. That's simple.
Doing it like that, that's exactly what you'd want.
Yeah.
You know, at the end of the day, that's the reason why they're there. So
yeah,
that promise sells it.
Well, I hope so, but like most people who see a course and offering, there is this assumption that you move forward just to get some knowledge, just to stick it on the CV, and then just to keep going without the application of it. I hate that, because it's almost pointless learning something if you're not going to apply it and you're not going to use it in your day-to-day life in some way, whether it be sparingly or all day. What was that, mate?
You're not embracing it and using it to its full potential, in a way. Why would you want to get involved in something like that and then not take away all of that from it? At the end of the day, you're coming in to reward yourself with something for doing this. You won't get that reward if you don't put in the work.
You're goddamn right. You're like a drill sergeant. Could you sound any more like a teacher?
Come on, guys. I used to be one of you.
So I was given the directive that we would need at least 5 people to go ahead. It's not free, just to say that as well, but it is a drastically discounted rate, like something like 5% of the price that it's going to be rolled out for. Because I think it's rolling out in the thousands in terms of the price. So this would be a chance to get in at the entry level. So we need at least 5 people, and then the way I ran my previous course and groups was, if there is homework to be set, you need to do it. No excuses. And if you don't do it, then you're just going to fall behind, and then you're eventually going to be booted from the entire. Exactly. So if there's anybody that's interested, this is the group that you're looking for. That's the group icon, and that's the group name that's in the corner there. That's what you should be getting involved in, and it's one of those. You can argue amongst yourselves about how biased or not biased I actually am, but it's one of those life skills that is a requirement, in my opinion. Whether you work in security or not, it is the friggin' ultimate people reading tool. There you are. Craig's just finished another course with me on reasoning. Working hard is an understatement, but worth every headache. Yeah, but like to take it away, not to take it away, like to take it to the other side, sort of thing. Some of the stuff these guys are doing now is unheard of. They are like I set them a test. I won't give the exact content, be it for people that get involved in the course in the future. But I set them a test where there was parts of a video played, and there was parts of it blacked out, like hidden at the side, and they were to use what's going on here to tell me explicitly what's happening behind the blacked out part of the screen, and they're doing this. You know, they're getting to the point where they're spotting liars in the room within seconds. They're getting to the point where they're reading deep, dark personal details in objects and clothing and movement, and you're like,
that's incredible.
this is fucking dangerous, mate. This is fucking dangerous. But you can see why this is such a requirement for people in security roles. But you know, this is just as applicable to somebody you know who I'm trying to think of a convivial kind of everyday occurrence. Well, take Maddie's role. She works in the ambulances and the like. To have an understanding. Did you catch the and the like there as well? She to have an understanding of not only the non-verbals that were being communicated to you from a medicinal purpose, but from a cerebral purpose, and to know where the bullshit is and where it isn't as well, so you can get straight to the details that you need to try and help, so you can have a conversation in a direct manner. But this isn't a sales episode. I just wanted to tell everybody that it's open.
The opportunity
is open. So I'm going to be giving everybody like 2 or 3 days to put your requests in, and then I'm closing the group down, making it private, so no more entries, nothing, no, after the fact. So then I can start giving exactly all of the breakdown from there. So yeah, get involved, Polar, do it. That's all I'm going to say. That's how much of a salesman I am. Fucking do it now.
But we've got the comments section if people are curious and want to know even more. Put your comments in there. We'll get them while you're here, while we've got you, while you've just offered that out, and it's fresh. People know. Ask your questions. Home slice,
home skillet, whatever it's called. I don't know. So
I need answers.
I need answers. So I'm often asked, right? How do you practice getting good at puzzle solving? How do you practice reasoning? How do you practice your logical processes? Not like how do you practice your, as in how do I practice mine, but how do you train these types of things? And other than go for it.
Tie him up in the basement. We forced him to do this with a lit match under his arsehole. We lower him. Legs
like a Jackie Chan montage from hell.
Message me for footage.
Yeah. What?
Who? Sorry? Who's got a business on the side?
I shudder to think what those videos would actually look like. Godzilla Israel! No!
It's in 3D.
Oh, mate, I'll have to. It's just reminded me as well. There was a great comment on the Liz Truss episode, fully bitching, about us.
Bring it up.
It was brilliant. I can't. It was from a guy called Oleg. Oleg, yeah.
Hello, Oleg.
Oleg. It might be in my notifications. It's been. Yeah, there it is. I don't know. Do I have to share my screen for this? Yeah, I'll try and share my screen. I haven't planned a screen share, so this is kind of an on the fly screen share. So if it goes wrong, I apologise.
That's right. There we go.
So it's over here.
Is that him? Oh.
Yeah, Oleg Goldberg. Not sure where you guys are coming from with your internal bromance humour, but it doesn't translate into any special insight that could be useful to any watchers or listeners.
Little bromance humour.
I know, but Oleg,
You made a new
who
podcast.
hurt you? Who hurt you, Oleg?
We want to bromance you, Oleg.
Come in for a hug. Come here.
Bro, I with a bromance.
I thought it was brilliant. I thought it was brilliant because it was one of those moments that you have to go, oh, dude, you've so missed the point. You've so missed the point.
If we win him round, though, he could be the third bromateer.
Yeah, we could be in a thruple, Oleg. Come on. Sort it out.
Get on board. You know you're our best friend.
But like, if that went towards anyone else as well, that you weren't sure of how this information would be communicable to you in terms of helpfulness and it being an aid to you, it's that thing of when you yell at a comedian, "When's the comedy on?" If you think the comedy started, you're right, and if you think it hasn't started, you're right. Because at the end of the day, you're watching YouTube. Yeah. Right? You're watching YouTube. So what we were doing...
I'll put my hand up and say, I know nothing. I know nothing.
Socrates himself, before he died, said, "All I know is that I know nothing." So just to back you up there, sir, but that's probably added to our bromantic kind of side of things.
He sees but does not observe. Exactly.
But it's information regarding the insight and motivation of humans, particularly humans that have a pretty important role in the society that we live in. I'd argue that that's pretty important to have an understanding of, and the like. I might not communicate it in a purely, emotionless and scientific kind of way. But like, I don't feel the need to be swinging my dick of a CV in front of you all night. If you want to ask, I'll tell you. But like, it comes from a great many years of working in the field.
We assume the audience is intelligent as well, so we don't need them to, necessarily have the full agenda written out in front of them as to what we mean and how we mean it, because we're not politically fused about all of this either.
No, it's all.
The name of the podcast is the Deductionist podcast. At the end of the day, that's all we're just sort of like aiming to do and talk about, and we're just Sherlock nerds.
Oh dear.
We're not to start piling new sort of law faction.
It's great, but it genuinely made me laugh. It genuinely made me laugh. I thought it was brilliant. I thought it was a brilliant comment. So Oleg, in a very weird way, thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks, I guess.
You're a good lad.
You're a good lad. You're a good lad. No, go call your mother. She's probably worried about you. So anyway, in terms of practicing puzzles and the development of that, besides training, getting in courses and practicing and developing, I'm one of those neurotic individuals that likes to take my training into downtime as well, into playtime and relaxing and this kind of thing. So if I were to say to you, right, a scientist has developed a hypothesis, and they needed to make sure that they were aware of as much information that they needed in order to go ahead and utilize this hypothesis in all manner of different situations and scenarios. What kind of stuff do you think the scientist would have to do in order to do that?
Tests.
Boom. Tests, research, practice, development.
Required research, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Actually, legwork into getting an answer of some sort.
It's the same of any role, that exists. If there are those that have been tasked with, I don't know, I'm trying to pluck an obscure one out of the area, tasked with solving a case that happened in an old house in the middle of a field that people thought were haunted, and you heard a glass shatter around the time that a ghost popped out and the like. You could reason that out from live in the field observations, but you could also get to the same answer from having watched The Abominable Bride or read The Case of the Biblical Colours. and the like, because there's another one, and it makes use of the Pepper's Ghost illusion. So what I mean is, oh, hang on, Craig's commented. It just didn't resonate with how he wants it to come across. Bad thing having expectations. I come here and expect to have the piss taken out of me, as usual.
Great, self-harming.
He'll be eating cookies in protest, the bastard. That's what he'll be doing. One of the things that you can do to get back onto point is to read about them. Not just in what is the name of this book and other logic riddles and the like, but to actually read through an authorial process of mysteries, of puzzles, of the way people act in certain circumstances, because you might not agree with the sensationalized responses of a storyline, but who's to say that kind of reaction won't happen? Right? If somebody's scared, most people nowadays will go, oh God, clutch the chest and like. But who's to say that a scared woman might not at one stage do something that was common in kind of Hammer horror and pull up a nightgown and go, woo! This kind of, who's to say that wouldn't happen with the spectrum of human behaviour? It's unlikely, but you don't know. You don't know.
Yeah. That's the thing. So, you don't know how people are going to react. But
precisely,
like stuff like reading these books and going out and finding the sort of work that is out there, even if it does sensationalize it, you will pick things up. Like with anything, sometimes it won't mean anything for a while. Sometimes it'll happen straight away. Other times it might just pop up. You could read a Sherlock book, you could read an anthology of them, do several different puzzles, and nothing ever click. But you could also do the same thing, and you might see, depending on the puzzle, oh shit, I recognise that. I know how to sort of get behind that. Oh, that's got a bit of that in. Oh, I remember that from such and such. That's sort of like,
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
What you've just described is kind of my mantra in the whole everything being relevant till it's not. But if you care to, and by you I mean everyone listening, if you care to look up the work of Edmond Locard, he was known as the Sherlock Holmes of France, who developed a great number of his experiments based on reading the Arthur Conan Doyle books. And it's from the start of his experiments that they've kind of developed and developed and developed into what we have now as many of the staples of forensic science, many of the staples of crime scene analysis and this kind of thing. And it started with reading a book.
My God.
So,
revelation.
What I have here is an unboxing of stuff to show you, because these are some of the new treats that are coming. I mean, I'm one of the authors for MX Publishing. If you know of the monographs and you know of the podcast, then you should by default know of MX Publishing. We had Steve on, who's the fearless leader of MX Publishing. Just a phenomenal bloke, constantly giving to charity, constantly doing things for other people, and this kind of thing. I nearly went with an and the like again, but I was self-aware of that one. I didn't forcefully put it in. So I asked him if he could send us some copies of some of the stuff that he's got coming out, and we could review them from
Christmas till December. Whatever are you doing?
Christmas came early, baby. Christmas came early. But listen, when it comes to books and stuff, we must remember this.
Unless you're really ignorant or a child, you should probably know practically anybody can write a book.
Anybody
can write a book. So even the ignorant and children, they can write books as well.
You can spit on some paper, and technically that's a book if it makes a letter of some sort.
To continue with the train of information, when we watched her video, that was a breakdown of the ignorant side of information, and that was an insight into puzzle solving from the side of ignorance, which should further our understanding of things moving forward. It makes us more complete.
Accidentally taught us. I hope she feels awful about it.
I hope you feel terrible. And I would say in the nicest possible way, but that would taste a lie to say it. That would taste a lie. So I'm going to do a reveal here, and don't worry, there's not going to be like any snakes and whatnot that are going to pop out like there's snakes in a can, that kind of thing.
I'm not tasting anything.
Although there is one thing on the side of here that says "Don't feed after midnight."
Oh my God.
Don't know what that could be. Anyway,
fine.
so
Don't get water on it.
This is the first one.
Oh.
We need like Christmas songs and whatnot in the background.
Stick some on. Oh no, he's already got it out. Giggity again. Hounded. My lifelong obsession with the Sherlock set. Nice. That is a lovely looking book.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
Right.
So if you look in kind of the inside, I don't know how to do this with all of these boxes in the way and whatnot. I don't know. So let me give you a breakdown from the background. Hounded is an escape from the anxiety of reaching a half century. Written during the pandemic of 2020 and into spring 2021, during which Vince Staden, I don't know how you pronounce your last name, sir, I apologise, experienced every film, TV, audio drama, spoken word reading, documentary, stage play, pastiche, graphic novel, animation, kids cartoon, and PC game version of The Hound of the Baskervilles.
Oh, dude. Dedicated.
Dedicated, first of all, but what can we take away from this? You might be thinking, all right, so what? That's an obsession with Sherlock and one particular story. It's a great niche, blah, blah, blah. You might be thinking that. But if that's the case, then you're approaching this from the side of ignorance. What we have is one puzzle that came from the start. What we have is one puzzle that came from Arthur Conan Doyle in terms of the story of The Hound of the Baskervilles that's been reworked, reimagined, changed, chopped, flipped around, and done in all of these billions and billions of different ways. Not an exact count. Right? Not an exact count. I would imagine Mr. Staden would still be there if that was the case, but there are a lot. So what we're looking at is the many outs, the many different ways that one particular end game can be completed. Now tell me if that's not important to observing a particular scene. If you were to see a glass in the middle of a kitchen floor, you might assume, and I use the word assume, rightly or wrongly, you might assume that, oh, someone just knocked it off. It was an accident. Right? But then that could have been done as violence. That could have been done to protect people. That could have been done medically induced. That could have been done by a result of substances. That could have been done by somebody else who was in the house rather than these are the types of things that you need to consider when you're presented with an initial observation. I love that cover. That cover's bloody great, isn't it?
The doors remain closed.
Yeah. Oh, that's him on the front.
Oh, nice.
Is it?
Love it. Is it? Is that him in there?
It is. It is. It is. But how cool is that? You what, mate?
I say it's a fantastic picture.
Right. It looks just like the Hammer Horror original posters and that. Look at the dog lurking in the background.
I love that. Ah, it's awesome.
It's great, isn't it? It's great, isn't it? So all of these are going to be reviewed in the future. All of these are going to be reviewed. Now, you might be thinking, oh, he's just qualified, he works for MX and all this kind of thing, so it's going to be good no matter what. Not the case. And Steve knows by now that if I think something shit, I'll just tell him. That that's the case, right?
Yeah.
Because I am nothing if not fastidious.
Yeah.
Fastidious. Let's do it again.
But
So I'm looking at another one.
It's like you said, like he's watched all of the Hound of the Baskervilles stuff and he's made that book. It didn't just start and stop at the Hound of the Baskervilles, and it won't start and stop there because now you're about to read that book. And who's to say you won't do something with reading that and apply it to something else, as many other people who read that book will. And on it goes. That's how it must go on.
And the problem keeps evolving.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Evolving.
Exactly. The way we looked at solving some of the world's problems, like education and all this, that, and the other, and we reduced it down to the root of greed. Yeah. So if somebody had one of the 7 deadly sins originally, it might not have been thought that this problem could stem into this, and stem into this, and stem into this, and stem into this, but the disease is carried by humans. Okay, that's a fresh understanding of the problem, and it keeps going. So the more you enrich yourself in the way that one outcome can be achieved,
yeah,
I'm telling you, man. And plus, it's just fun to get involved in material.
It's just having a good time. The learning is the byproduct. Ooh. Oh, nice.
Beautiful, isn't it?
I'm not sure which cover I like more now, because that's more of a still the Hammer horror-esque sort of look about it, but it also looks a bit darker.
Now, this would work well in terms of this. This is a Sherlock Holmes reader, illustrated and embellished. Honestly, I like it. By N.R. Reiki. Great name. The classic story plus questions and answers, writing tasks, research exercises, original plays, historical and social backgrounds, and much, much more.
Get on it. Nice.
Bloody glorious, isn't it, though? Yeah. Right, look at this. Cultural stuff from the time and whatnot. Holmes and Watson's London.
This is where it's at. Oh, nice. Oh, I love that.
Baskerville Hall. Boom. That's going to be awesome. That is going to be awesome.
That's a shiny looking book as well.
It's a shiny little MFer. But
pages.
When I'll give you an example as well. When I was going through some of the challenges for iMemorize, which we're still going to go out and do at some point. There was the whole memorizing a library or memorizing a museum. A place that's contains a shitload of information, but you can walk around it, much like a palace within a palace, this kind of thing, that kind of palaceception. I don't know what that was, but the how-to of that came from the Hound of the Baskervilles, Baskerville Hall. It came from Baskerville Hall. And when I say the how-to, I'm sure there's many other people that could apply techniques towards doing that kind of thing. Of course they could. But in terms of the specific way that I do this for profiling in the field and moving in the field, not stopping, memorizing, thinking, adding to a palace, moving on, as you walk continually around and having conversations and drinking coffee and talking to people and drinking some more coffee and going to look at this and then drinking some more coffee. You can see where my day goes. But that original idea for how I would be able to achieve that came from Baskerville Hall. Nice. But that's the thing with examining that kind of stuff. You don't know until you actually try whether it's going to work or not.
Exactly, yeah. Trial
it could just be
a beautiful thing.
It could just be a pie in the sky kind of thing. And what I'm doing as well here with all of these boxes, I'm making sure that once this stream is done, I can't leave. Because I'm boxing myself in, literally.
You're trumping it, sir. You're building a wall.
What the deuce?
How cool is that? It's like a file. Nice.
Wow. This is a book written with witness testimony and interview practices from the actual book itself. So let me find the start. So we've got a Devon County Constabulary witness statement of Joshua Perkins, 6th of May, 1889, taken down by P.C. Bell.
I love how that's all formatted. I love the twist they've kind of given it there.
But think about it this way: if you're aware of the Hound of the Baskerville, but you've never actually read the original yet, get that. Solve it first.
Yeah. Oh my God, imagine.
Right?
What a nifty way of looking at it as well.
This is what I mean. This is what I mean.
Yes.
When people say like, where should I start? What book should I read? What course should I? Just fucking start.
Yeah. Anything.
Just start. Just start.
It's not like a franchise. It's like a film franchise, like the MCU or DC. You don't have to start. Oh, you've got to begin with such and such to understand the rest. Just go into it.
Just start.
People have thrown their own sort of mix and take, and those books are a fine example of that. It just shows that you can begin anywhere and you'll love it. I think it's more important just to start anywhere, really, more than anything. Unless you're just specifically doing it.
Unless you've got something in mind of where you want to start, crack on. But the same is said of.
You already have the answer, don't you?
Absolutely. Yeah. But the same is said of learning these skills in the first place. Where do you just start? Start thinking and just do. And they're like, let's have a look. Oh,
do it.
It's Gwyneth Paltrow's head.
Oh my God! Oh, Jesus Christ!
Brad Pitt's gonna be mad.
Oh.
Anyway, enough with the.
Set it alight. Is it actually just? It's even worse than Gwyneth Paltrow's head. What's that? What's that she sells on Netflix? Goop.
Oh, a vagina candle.
Yeah. That would be a horrific alternate ending.
Yeah. What's in the box? You can keep it. I don't want it. You're all right.
No. Stop it, Morgan Freeman.
Yeah. I'm starting to worry now that there's actually nothing in this box and Steve's just screwing with me.
Imagine.
No. Got him. Bloody hell, there's a lot in here. There's like this. I'm gonna have so much fun. There's like 10 or 11 books in here.
No way.
Yeah. There we go. Let's grab a couple. So what's up first? We got continuing with the Baskerville jaunt. Mark of the Baskerville Hound by Wilfred Huetel. I'm sorry, Wilfred, but I don't know how to pronounce your last name. A New York police. What was that?
Is it what? Sorry, you were explaining it. So I was going to say what is it? You explaining it.
A New York police officer who's on a speaking engagement in Britain finds time to visit the Dartmoor environs. As a nuts and bolts detective events occur on the moors that test his sanity and reason, what are the reasons for a sudden rash of maulings and horror? He returns to New York only to ask for help from a priest and a doctor. Finally, he alone must return to the woman he met on the moors and come face to face with the ultimate terror. Right, so we've got
a sequel.
Maybe it's like an American Werewolf in London, an American Werewolf in Paris, that kind of thing.
Kind of twist on it.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. I don't know. But look about how many versions we've got of this already, and how many background pieces on this we've got already. And I know the original like the back of my fucking hand at this minute. Right? And a great deal of the others since. I've still yet to see the Butt Detective version. That's
really amazing.
Let us know if you want us to do a live watch of the Butt Detective. We'll sort it out. But like looking at that, I've got no idea how that would work. So that's going to be an education in and of itself. Cool. Right, let's have a look at these two. Sissy Holmes and the Case of the Dead Hypnotist.
Oh.
What is reincarnation? Sissy Holmes doesn't have a clue until the hypnotist, soon to be dead, delves too deeply into her psyche. The voice inside her head says he's Sherlock Holmes and wants to investigate the murder. Sissy thinks she must be crazy. As events unfold, she's convinced she has no choice but to investigate with the help of Sherlock Holmes and her best friend, Elle.
It already
Sounds.
immediately sounds better than Enola Holmes.
Oh my god.
That can get flushed down the pan, and this can take centre stage.
Netflix, are you listening?
Get on it. Get on it.
Who doesn't want Henry Cavill living in their head?
Oh wow! I swear, this Nolan should direct this. Surely.
Right?
Yeah.
And also, my favourite Basil Rathbone film was the Green Lady, and that involves a hypnotist as well. So this is going to be sweet.
Nice layered story.
Bertram Fletcher Robinson, a footnote to the Hound of the Baskervilles. Oh, this is more back.
Your little fans out there.
Yeah, I mean, look at this. If I do a quick read through, I know you're not Johnny Five. You don't read that fast, or backwards.
Oh, I do. I've completed it now. Wow.
Done. Onwards. Oh, mate, I saw a video of a guy on one of these talent show contests the other day claiming to be the fastest reader and just going, flip.
Well, not actually saying what he's read.
Well, no, he would be tested on it, like, but he was claiming to be the fastest reader, and you're like, every magician and mentalist in the world is going, sit down, dude. work on better performing, and they're like, just sit down. Be quiet.
Oh god! I just love the idea of what happened. I said it as fast as I read.
It was like Peter Griffin's in. I think it was in the episode where he becomes like a chairman for a smoking company and the like. And he was like, just because I can sail 50 states in a quarter of a second, just does that.
Nice.
Of course, he pushed him. Times 2.
Of course.
Volume 1 and Volume 2. I love that as a title, though. Of course he pushed him.
Of course he pushed him.
Of course he pushed him. Of course he pushed him. Holmes and Watson investigate an alleged haunting at the Diogenes Club, vandalism at a prominent art gallery, the case of a frightened amnesiac. That'd be horrible. The takeover of 221B by vicious criminals, the sequel to The Engineer's Thumb, the defiling of Holmes's Stradivarius violin, and a Christmas story featuring a graveyard with angry insults carved into the headstones. I promise not to do it again. I promise. But like a sequel to The Engineer's Thumb, look at that from a mysterious point of view. If you invert the kind of degree of information, like because Holmes is given an engineer with his thumb missing, but then seeks to give as much detail about the thumb as is necessary. So to be able to look at a thumb and know about a human individual sounds absolutely nonsensical until you start to look at like anatomy and physiology, racial profiling, not in a horrible kind of way, but in terms of an ethnic kind of way, and the kind of differences on a growth from internal genes level, and this kind of thing. It's definitely possible. That sounds awesome. Sherlock Holmes and the Adventure of the Fallen Souffle. Sherlock Holmes and the Adventure of the Ghost Machine. I'm going to move through these quite quickly now, just because there's bloody loads of them. Oh,
wow!
Oh,
you have the omnibus right there.
This sounds quite fun. The Diary of Young Arthur Conan Doyle: The Death of Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, nice. Oh, well, that'd be sort of like leading towards his initial idea to kill Holmes off.
I would guess so, and it is only a guess at this stage. As much as I hate that word, but I've yeah, but the guy that writes it as well, John Raffensperger, is a retired paediatric surgeon. He operated on babies with birth defects and children with cancer for nearly 50 years, then turned to writing medical history and fiction. So come on, is there anyone more spot on to be writing this kind of stuff? So he's also done the plot to assassinate the Tsar, Sherlock Holmes at Lincoln's Tomb. We've got Sherlock Holmes and the Adventure. I love this for a title. Sherlock Holmes and the Adventure of the Elusive Ear. Right. But we've got Van Gogh on the front as well.
Even better.
Right.
There's a bit of history in there.
Oh, this is the one. These are the ones I was looking forward to the most.
Here we go. Here we go. The Criminal World of Sherlock Holmes Volume. Oh yes.
Volume 1, Volume 2, baby.
They will.
So I'll give you a bit of the background. Kelvin I. Jones has been writing about Sherlock Holmes for over 50 years and studied the real-life criminals and criminalistics of the late Victorians. Kelvin's forensic approach has already made a significant impact on the Holmes aficionado. Previous titles, including the Sherlock Holmes Murder Files, etc. However, the first of this 3-volume magnum opus on Holmes and crime covers absolutely everything that the reader, fresh to or even more familiar with Holmes, wants to know about the murder and mayhem of his age. We learn about the poisoners, the prostitutes, the garrotters, the psychopaths, the abductors. In fact, the whole panoply of the dangerous criminal underworld once lorded over by Moriarty.
Wow.
What?
That sounds cool. I mean, Craig's put it pretty well. Amazing.
And look at it this way as well. If you're looking to, I'll give you an example. When I got the 3x3 Rubik's Cube, learned to solve the 3x3 Rubik's Cube, fair enough. And then you start playing around with the 4, and you can kind of do most of it for the save the kind of parities that can pop up. Parities, Google it, but that's a Rubik's Cube term that's not relevant to what I'm saying. But just from looking at the origin of a 3, you can figure out the 4, the 5, the 6, the 2x2 as well. Just from how this one was put together. So if you're looking to understand a little bit more about crime and criminals, in this kind of thing, nearly said it again, crime and criminals and the like. How better to enrich your knowledge by understanding where these kind of criminals may have come from.
Yeah. Too right. I mean, it can only help, surely. Especially if this is your kind of area, and you want to know little tidbits that go with it. Wow. The fact that it comes in volumes as well, it shows the in-depth kind of analysis that you're getting with these books. I love the kind of. I love an anthology of these. Even just from an aesthetic point of view on a shelf, they would just look bloody beautiful. Oh, yeah. Okay, show off.
I can't put them down now. They're going to drop. I made a mistake. A fatal error in judgment.
But now you just see the Mac tip.
You'll see them drop and then paper just explode.
Now he's part of the pages.
Part of the book. Part of the... I don't know where I was going with that, to be honest. I didn't know how to finish it off. So,
it's publishing.
As I am a dog fan, a dog lover, a dog aficionado. I don't love them too hard, Maybe if it gets cold enough. Just trying to Ace Ventura my way through the segue. No, it's a long heralded belief of mine that I prefer dogs to other people. and this kind of thing, like me and Maddie, we've booked a day. It's one of those Virgin Red Letter days or Virgin Media Play days, whatever you call them. We booked a day to go down to this kind of little farm and just play with huskies for 6 hours. That's it. That's all we're gonna do. And they were like, do you mind if you come in November because it'll be cold and muddy and wet? No. You make it sound like no matter what the weather, I won't be on the ground anyway. Exactly. So, just because of the time as well, I'm gonna continue this into a bit of a series of the looking at the information that we get from dogs. Not just from a companionship kind of level, and I think anybody that, even if you're not specifically a dog person, right? If you are honest enough, you can't refute the degree of companionship that you get from a dog. You can't. Yeah. You can't, in my opinion. And that's not to take away from any other animal that you get companionship from, but there is nothing quite like the companionship of dog.
If you just if you look at it from a research point of view, it says the same kind of thing. Unless there's something else out there that, a lot of people say, like with horses as well.
Horses is another one.
Very, very similar, sort of like on the but it's good to look at that kind of stuff and just see in there, like you say, even if you're not necessarily an animal fan or dog fan, you can't deny the irrefutable evidence.
No. So, in honor of my brother from another species related mother, a Cookie, it is his 17th birthday over the weekend that's coming up. 17. My boy's he's still going. He's not going as strong, but he's still going at the minute. Bless him. It's getting to the point where I'm thinking I might have to get him some kind of like holdall just to hold his booty up so he can still walk around. Bless him. So I thought it might be interesting. Feel free to tell me in the comments, Oleg, if it's not going to be interesting, for us to look at the kind of information that is possible to observe from looking at a dog.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to pop that one on screen.
Yeah.
Yes, Cookie.
Not being analysis. No one really covers that area, mainstream wise, do they? I don't think. Have we really gone down this route before?
No, we haven't. Like in some of the videos that come out earlier on in the week, I did a video as a react to the Jack Reacher episode. Well, I think it was episodes. It might have been over a number. It may have been over one. I'm digressing. There was scenes where he spoke to a dog. And the like, and Jack Reacher, being who he is, kind of wandering down the street, sees a dog outside that's clearly moaning, tied to a post that shouldn't be there, dry water bowl. So he climbs over the fence, goes to give the dog some water. The guy comes out and is like, "What are you doing in my yard?" He's like, "I'm just giving your dog some water." The guy goes, "Oh, he must have knocked that bowl over. I gave him some water earlier." Jack turns to him and goes, "No, you didn't. The bowl was dry." He goes, "Are you calling me a liar?" Yeah. Yeah, I did.
That is what happened.
That is what happened. But anyway, so I did the react part to the episode, but we looked at some of the work from Sam Gosling, who's the guy that wrote Snoop, What Our Stuff Says About You. I've got it around here. I can see it. It's hiding behind others. I'm not going to go rooting. If you want to know what Snoop is, not the dog, the rapper, the book, then Google it. It's a great book, and he's got a great lecture as well that's available online in terms of this. But he's done some work into the relationship of the behaviour relative towards pet ownership. So, what cat people are more likely to be like, what dog people are more likely to be like, what bird people are more likely to be like, and so on and so on. When it comes to everyday domesticated animals, right? If for some reason you keep a bear or a giraffe or something, then you must work at a zoo, or this information hasn't been researched yet to have that kind of understanding. But we looked at that. Yeah, we looked at that in some of the basics. But most people might be thinking now, well, have I got to go and read a ton of research documents, read a ton of books, read a ton of papers? I would encourage you to, if this kind of information is there, because there is no greater direct insight towards a person's household, a person's life, a person's ability to take care of someone else than looking at a dog or indeed an animal that they look after. And I am including babies in this because that would be an animal that you look after. That would be an animal that you look after, right? And given my virtually raw hatred for being around newborn babies,
he throws them at walls.
I do. It's it's just lucky for me that the walls are a bouncing castle, Calm down. Cancel culture. Calm down. Right, calm down. uh, the, the reason I stick to animals more so, but I favour reviewing dogs because obviously being a fan of dogs, I've spent more time looking at that kind of information, so it yields more. But the way you can kind of get into this information early is if you look at it from a semantic kind of template of what it would take to look after a dog, which changes with the degree of dog size, right? So let's put you on the spot a little bit, right? You don't own a dog. As well, just to qualify that, right? So this isn't coming from experience. This is just coming from off the top of the head. What do you think it would take to look after a dog to make sure it's well looked after, if I might use an ambiguous phrase?
Time, observation,
Mm-hmm.
love. Well, I suppose that should be number one. Actually being able to love the animal and care for it. Fit and able.
Able.
That's a big important thing that plays into it. You see so many dogs that you hear about them not getting walked or getting out because the owner is incapable of doing so, and it's a terrible thing if the owner can't and they don't want anything to happen to the dog and keep the dog. But you just hear about these issues cropping up. That's quite a new one, I think, in terms of me thinking about that sort of stuff before. But
so if I might put this into more human context for you, then, if you were to represent the dog in this kind of question, right? Let's imagine during lockdown, which is all the dog knows of a house when you leave it. During lockdown, you're in on your own. You don't have any devices. You don't have any books. Your kitchen cupboards are half empty, and that there's nothing to do.
Yeah.
What kind of an effect would that have on you?
Oh God, it'd drive me bloody crazy.
What would it lead to you doing? Maybe.
Probably finding more negative means of entertaining myself, I imagine.
Right.
Whether that be if I was the dog in this case, well, you can imagine what a dog would do.
Exactly. Exactly. Right. So when you're observing a house, if there is, lots of chewed skirting boards, if there's lots of scratch marks on a door, ripped up things that aren't dog toys and the like, because dog toys are designed to be ripped up and played with, ripped up shoes, ripped up leaflets, ripped up letters, whatever it is, the dog is bored.
Yeah.
The dog's bored. And again, that's going to come from one of two places. Either the person, the owner, has shift work and does long shifts and the like, so questionable in terms of whether they should be getting other people to look in on the dog, but it doesn't kind of continue into neglect in the evening time, or it is a continual element of neglect. These are the types of things, just from looking at a semantic practice. You've not read any of the papers. You've been able to work now in terms of an observation from understanding cause to effect to have an idea about a human's interaction with a dog. Boom. This is the nature of the way it works, mate. It doesn't have to be an overcomplicated affair full of memory palaces and eons of information that's stored away in the nook and cranny of your hippocampus.
Observation.
What was that, mate? Sorry?
I'm just saying it can just be your natural instinct, human observation. I suppose the most important thing is that if you care enough to notice these things as well. I suppose sometimes people that aren't necessarily animal lovers or don't really particularly care about pets themselves won't see these things because it's just, a nuisance factor of the pet, whatever that pet may be, which can leave stuff unobserved.
100%, mate. 100%. And Craig's mentioned as well in the comments, because Craig's a massive dog fan as well. I'm not just because he has Shadow. Craig is a massive dog fan as well. He's mentioned seeing the person's state based on the reaction of the dog is a good one, which often tells a lot as well. Bill Murray has said it best for my two pennies. I will never trust a human that doesn't like a dog, but I will always trust a dog that doesn't like a human.
Too right.
Right. These are the types of things that can be communicated in this way. So look at look at other areas in terms of knotted fur, roaming smells.
Yeah.
What about if we put it into this way, and we will get more detailed in this in terms of how the series goes. I'll try and not make the series too long because I really could. I really could. Think about it in terms of the way that people choose to connect to an animal. Again, regardless of what that is, think about how somebody would choose to connect to an animal, right? I respond to dogs because of, I'm not going to reveal that kind of personal trait within myself, but because of how that connects to me. Some people might connect towards parrots because they represent, this kind of colourful area of their personality. Some people might connect to horses more because they like to get on their back and go on a solitary adventure off down a field or a canal path somewhere. Some people might connect to cats because they get a vibe off that kind of, well, I'll come back for the food, we'll hang out, and then we'll go off and do something else. It's not that I don't need you, it's just that I'm doing me. In this kind of thing, it might be that kind of connection. So, in the same way, if you were to see, a frail old man who is 77 years old, walking down the street, he's got one walking stick, and he tells you that he's a dog owner. What kind of dog would he have? I'm not expecting you to pull apart the breed. Just tell me about the size.
Labrador?
It's possible. It's possible he could have a Labrador. Wouldn't be any bigger, because it wouldn't be any bigger because it would have the opportunity to affect his mobility. If you're looking into German Shepherds, if you're looking into Alsatians, Huskies, Alaskan Malamutes, Dog de Bordeaux's, these kinds of big dogs and the like. Right? Who's keeping count?
Craig, this is your job, man.
He'll already be bleeding from every kind of orifice with the informational download he's had to do through the day. To be fair. Oh yeah, honest. I'll tell you about it afterwards. So. This is how you can start to connect these kinds of dots. Does it mean categorically he won't have a big dog? No. Because unless you've assessed information from a mobility side to see whether it's long-term, degenerative, fast onset, from a car crash, whatever it is. If the dog is an old dog, themselves. Yeah. Excuse me. We're just dealing in likelihoods. We're dealing in inductive reasoning. Right, which is my. Did you know Sherlock Holmes uses inductive reasoning, didn't use deductive? Yes, I did. I know that. Yeah. So what I'm saying is, it's one of these areas of a person's life that has a huge power to reveal eons and eons and eons of information. If you go into a house and you see there is a blanket covered with dog fur on one part of the sofa, there's a dog bed in the kitchen, there's a dog bed upstairs, and there's a dog bed, a plastic one, outside as well, but only one dog lives there. Right, that dog has a lot. That dog has a lot of places that he or she can go.
Yeah.
That's a well looked after, well liked, well loved dog. Now we put that into context with the fact that the human in the house lives alone.
Yeah, and then you see a bit of an isolation kind of.
Right. So let's change the context slightly. There's a couple, a long-term married couple, 20 years married in the house, same setup with the dog.
Yeah.
Right? Is this a young dog? Is this a precursor towards something else? Is this a kind of compensatory measure for an inability to be able to do something else? So they dote on a dog because they can't do, children or whatever it is that happens. These are the kinds of questions that are presented by virtue of the fact that there is an animal in the house.
Absolutely, yeah.
There is.
Where you talk about the animal sort of person living on their own and the animal clearly being loved in the house. It could be, depending on the age of the person or whatever's happened, there may have been another partner, and there may have been an absence that needs filling, and then a dog has come on the scene to sort of replace that absence.
Boom.
Especially
you've got it, mate. You've got it. And now you've got some information in your head that you can observe the rest of the house with. You can talk to the person to see how this connects, if it does. And if it doesn't, we change it for something else that connected as well and see if that fits. And as my very good friend Jim Wenzel says, I work with Jim at Pro Cypher, you can either validate, dismiss, or clarify the observations that you've made to move forwards on.
Nice.
An animal is a gift that keeps on giving, right? So the main thing that we're going to be continuing on moving forwards is some of the day-to-day activities of looking at the information that's contained within dogs that you can observe this on. We're going to get into some of the forensic applications of it as well. So the differences between cat and dog hair, the differences, because I've annoyed many mentalists, by you're just using that as a pseudo explanation. All right, then how did I get it right if it's just a pseudo explanation and that's the only piece of information? Right? Just because I care to study that kind of thing and you don't, it's fair enough. Like that's not taken away from one side or the other. It's not. But just because I have chosen to do that doesn't mean that it simply can't be done because you chose not to.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's the
That's not validating. And that sort of stuff is completely cutting yourself off and saying, "Oh, well, that's not right. That doesn't work." Well, surely that goes against everything that you're about. Then.
How long would you say, right? When we used to go to Pure Gym regularly, how long would you say we spent talking about pet names? As an estimation.
God knows.
Too long, right? Too long. Like there'd be sometimes I'd say to Adam, like, think of a pet name. What kind of pet is it? And he'd be like, oh, it's a cat or it's a dog or it's a bird or whatever it is. Right? Think of the first letter. Is it this? Yes, no, whatever it is. And then we keep drilling it, and like, and to eventually kind of got to the stage where I'd be like, Adam, I'm thinking of this kind of a person. I'd be like, it's a 36-year-old nerd that's covered in tattoos and enjoys biscuits way too much. Right? They've just bought a dog. You think about what you would name them. This is the name. Yeah, it is. And like, we get into these kinds of things. The deduction experiment. I used this as an example in the course that I ran on reasoning. The deduction experiment. I don't know which video it is. You'd have to go through one of the playlists if you wanted to try and watch it. But I was sent a picture of a dog's ear. Right, I was sent a picture of a dog's ear with the question, "Tell me the dog's name." Tell me the dog's name. Right.
I did something similar with one of the episodes of The Deductionist at the pub. Everyone went around the table and you guess dog names. Start with job roles. I think to begin with, you were blindfolded.
Yeah.
And eventually we got down to dog names.
Yeah, we did that. We did that at the location where that guy was really mad that we sledgehammered cardboard boxes.
And he ironically had 2 dogs and was then offering to give money to charity. We're like, oh, yeah, sure.
Exactly. Don't talk to me, mate. I'll ruin your life. I'll make you think some horrible stuff. But I also made him think some good stuff, and there we go. So yeah, like we may have gone too far on the unboxing, but I wasn't expecting that many. I'll be honest with you, wasn't expecting that many. Yeah, so this will continue into part of a series with descriptions and details for my one-on-one students that are out there. Don't worry. the good stuff you'll keep for yourself, and we'll make sure that everyone walks away with a usable template that they can use to properly analyze dogs in a fun yet soft scientific kind of way, safe way. Do you remember that when that used to be a successful supermarket?
I do. Chicken nuggets, Safeways.
Yeah.
Unfrosted.
Unfrosted. That's the way to do it. Just like the hair of a boy band in the 90s.
I imagine a boy band in the 90s would be called Safeway. We are Safeway.
Yeah, we are Safeway, and then did one of these kind of poses.
Yeah. Floppy blonde hair.
Yeah. What was his name? Nick Carter? Aaron Carter? He was definitely a Carter.
All the Carters.
Yeah.
All the Carters and the members of Doo-Wop. The Hanson brothers. Well, then Doo-Wop. That was the song.
Mbop.
Doo-Wop.
Doo-Wop. Mate, seriously, now that you're in your 30s, listen to that song again. Listen to the lyrics of that song again. That hits differently now.
Done. If I have mental parties from this song, I'm not going to be happy.
Like, but specifically go for the bop, like the acoustic version or whatever that kind of thing is called. It hits differently. It's nowhere near as jolly.
Oh no! Oh dear!
You kind of go.
Oh, I see. Nice one, Hanson.
Yeah, but there was a video that accurately describes our kind of generation. There was a guy doing kind of characters, and he was like playing Gen this and Gen Z Alpha and Millennials and whatever else these other kind of generations are called.
Yeah.
And then there was our generation that kind of figured out that they were now old, and they're like, nah, the 90s was only 10 minutes ago, and they're like, no, it was 30 years ago. So he faints with some alcohol. One of the other guys goes, is he dead? And one of the other generations goes, no, just his spirit. And I was like, oh man, I felt that one. Right, guys. So we're gonna love you and leave you for the time being. Make sure to stick around for the series that's to come, looking at doggos and the wonderful world, mostly in celebration of the sincere love of my life, Cookie. And then we'll get into the information properly in terms of how you can do it too. So, if that sounds interesting, drop some comments down below. If it doesn't, track down Oleg and drop some comments on him. Let him know. I'm sure he's dying to know about the whole.
Bricks. Drop love on him. Drop love on him.
And make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. And we'll love you and leave you and talk to you soon. Take care. Bye.